Good morning. Yes, I'm a little late today. I don't want to get off on a negative note, but I did want to talk about grief and how grief affects people because it is a very real situation and very difficult to deal with. So, hold on a second. When somebody passes away, it leaves a impression in your mind, in your body and soul, I should say, because now that person who you're used to being there or animal is no longer there. So there's an unfulfilled, body's like calling out for something that it can't get. It's just it's an unsatisfying feeling, on a neurological level, without getting into the science behind the brain structure of it, because it's like change, how you've built, neural networks that are strengthening every time you do something after you complete your normal everyday habits. You have also built up neural networks for people who are in your life. So when they leave, it's a loss that you feel, obviously. So how to deal with it is just by, you really have to confront it. You have to talk about it. You have to embrace it. You can't ignore it. It just gets worse. So after about 21 days to 63 days, the time it takes to build up habits, you have to consciously force your mind to think of the good things. Okay, I know sometimes we tend to think about all of the bad things and what could have and should have, and it's so easy to think about that, but you have to force yourself to think about the good memories and focus on the positive. And you have to talk about it to people. So talk about it to people who are in your support network and who will be supportive to you. And talking about it is a necessity. So I know people get uncomfortable when, bringing it up. If it's somebody who's really close to you, it's an uncomfortable situation to deal with when your friend has a relative or a spouse or someone very close to them that I don't even want to say, or a child or something, it's very uncomfortable to bring that up to them. So it's important, that you bring it up to others, because they may feel uncomfortable bringing it up to you. So, and don't take that personally. It's human nature to feel uncomfortable to bring that up to others. So absolutely bring it up, because you need to speak about it, and you need to keep the memory alive and force yourself to think of positive memories. And when your mind goes to the negative, like guilt or this or that, stop it, pause, and focus on the positive. And that's how you're rebuilding, that's how you're dealing with grief. You're embracing it. You're not letting your mind go in the negative direction, because then that could lead to just dealing with grief negatively, and not, how you see some people who don't get over things for a long time. My grandmother didn't get over my grandfather 25 years. She never got over it. It's not funny, but she probably didn't grieve properly. And you want to grieve in a healthy way, because it will help you, and in the long run, and doctors will be so quick to prescribe you meds to numb your mind. Don't do it. You want to feel it, unless I can't speak for parents, or I have never been in that situation, so I can't tell you that to someone who lost their child, but because I've never been there. But if it's your animal or something, you don't want to numb your brain. You want to feel the emotions. So that, and then you want to purposely think of the positive memories, and you want to talk about it to others, and you want to cry, and you don't want to put on a strong face, because that is not natural, and it doesn't make you look strong to cry about someone who passed. I mean, that's look how strong that person is. You got to keep it together, yeah, but it's you have to embrace the feelings that you're feeling. So on that note, that is a way to use this process, because this 5-step process, and I'll relate it to, after we do the 5 steps, I will then relate it a little bit more to that. So step 1. So you want to relax and bring your emotions into your conscious mind. So your unconscious emotions that you perhaps are not aware of, because maybe you are pushing them away. Maybe you are afraid to deal with them. Maybe you are purposely ignoring them. Excuse me, sorry. And that is not healthy. We need to learn to confront them. So bring them into consciousness by scanning your brain and scanning your mind and your body, and you're looking for what is going on, what is bothering you, what is the dominant emotion that you're feeling. Is it sadness? Is it worry? Is it stress? Is it sadness? Maybe we'll go with that today. So what? Now, why are you sad? Now, this is, this. So let me stop. When you're doing this process every day, and you're focusing on your one emotion, which could be anxiety, we've discussed that, stress or something, and there are going to be things that happen throughout this process, because that's life. So someone passes away, and that could bring up, a lot of emotions. So you still want to stick to this process and still stick to it, and that's going to be, and that's going to contribute to it, but you don't stop, because you still have to live your life. So you decompartmentalize. And what I mean by that is you still have to go to work. You still have to raise your children. You still have to take care of your daily responsibilities. There's a time for grief, and there's a time to put aside for it, and there's a time to reach out to others. But, you still need to move forward in life. So, now we're still in step 1. So step 1, so you're scanning your mind and your body, and you're bringing that conscious thought into that unconscious thought into consciousness. Now you're going to ask yourself, why am I feeling that way? What is behind it. So why am I having, I'm not going to go with sadness because it's too sad for me right now. So I'm going to go with anxiety. So why am I having this anxiety? Still, I'm going to continue from Friday because I don't feel good about myself. I feel guilty. And I have never dealt with what's behind the unconscious, the guilt. So what is behind the guilt is all of the things that I'm thinking about that I've done that are bad. Well, what? Okay, so what is going on that is bad? And what have you done? So you're going to think about that. Well, when I was 21, I did a terrible thing, or when I was 7, I did this, and okay, so you have done some bad things. We all have. We're all human, right? So this is what we're telling ourselves, and we're getting to the root of why we think we're such a bad person. My mother told me I was so bad, and when I was 15, and well, why were you bad when you were 15? Maybe your mother didn't raise you properly. Maybe it has to do with her. There's so many things, and then you're analyzing that, or that thought of why you think you're a bad person, and which makes you feel guilty at the root, and which makes you sabotage, which makes you feel not worthy, which makes you feel you don't deserve things, which makes you feel less than others. So and maybe you did something bad last week, and that could be possible, because you know what? We're human, and we do things. We're not perfect, and we all make mistakes. And that's what life is about, making mistakes and learning from them. So what you did last week that was bad, are you going to beat yourself up over it? Are you going to beat yourself up over everything that you've done in your life that's bad, even if you did it last week? How is that going to help you? It's going to perpetuate the cycle. And guess what? It will make it more likely that you do something bad next week. So in that sense, you got to work on forgiving yourself. And how you do that is by writing that down. Okay, that's step 3. So you're going to write down, I have become somebody that I'm not, that I do not like, and I don't want to be that person anymore. I have done things that are not me. It is who I've become, but that is not who I am, because we are all born to be positive people. We are all born, our brains are wired for positivity. We are not, besides Jeffrey Dahmer, I don't know, okay, there's something wrong with his genetics, or something wrong with it. In my opinion, people like Jeffrey Dahmer and those people who are born bad, it's the contamination of our gene pool, but that is, and also the contamination in our gene pool leads to addiction, leads to so many, it leads to so many things that I'm not going to mention because it might insult people, but our gene pools have been contaminated over centuries and centuries. So anyway, besides that person who has no ability to have who feel guilty anyway, so they wouldn't even think, someone like that doesn't feel guilty because that's a psychopath. So if you're a psychopath, you wouldn't be doing this process because you wouldn't care. So I'm going to take it, anyone who's doing this process is a good person at heart, who has done bad things like we all have, but you're going to write it down, and you're going to say, that's who I've become, and I'm going to, okay, so you wrote that down. then you're going to read what you wrote yesterday. You're going, like I said, make connections, triggers, what triggers you to think these thoughts, who triggers you to think these thoughts. Is it someone toxic in your life? Very well, somebody could be saying, you're such a piece of garbage. That person, time to take a break from that person, or put up strict boundaries saying, if you're going to talk to me like that, I am not going to listen. And I'm going to say, goodbye. I'll talk to you when you have something, when you're in a better mood. Bye. If they can't respect your boundaries, then say, you know what? We're going to take a little break. We'll come back to this relationship when I'm feeling better and stronger to handle this type of constant criticism. So, so that's a trigger that you'll look for a person. A trigger could be going to a certain place every day. Hey, this is bringing it, this is making me feel bad. I don't want to go here maybe anymore. I'm not going to do this to myself anymore because it's torturing myself and I'm subjecting myself to this. You don't want to do that anymore. So, but you discovered that by writing it down and by reading what you wrote the previous day. So now step 5, and this is the action that you're going to take to unwire your negative thoughts about yourself and rewire in positive thoughts. So the core of you that thinks you're a bad person and doesn't deserve to be happy and to live a happy life and doesn't deserve things, doesn't deserve to, doesn't deserve anything. That person, that's who you think that you are, that is going to stop right here and right there, because right here and now, and you are going to tell yourself, that is who I have become, that is not who I am, and I choose to stop. I choose to forgive myself and move forward. Okay? So that's not who I am, that's who I become. I forgive myself and I'm moving forward. And you program that in your alarm in your phone. So because science says that you have to remind yourself at least 7 times a day. Every time you have a bad feeling, you're going to immediately think of that sentence and not let that bad feeling result in a rabbit hole of the negative criticism that you constantly, that got you where you are, so you're not going to go there. So that is very important, and it absolutely can be done because I've done it. You can forgive yourself right now because, and I know I've said this before, who does it benefit to keep self-sabotaging and you feel guilty about the things you've done, so you're going to keep doing bad things, or because you don't forgive yourself. It's such a cycle. It's by forgiving yourself is going to release that, and by not forgiving yourself and by continuing to beat yourself up over the things you've done in the past is hurting you, and it's not helping anybody. It's not telling anybody that you forgive, anybody you've harmed. It's not helping them. It's not showing that you forgive, that you're sorry. It's not showing them, I'm so sorry. Look how I beat myself up every day to show you how sorry I am. No, that doesn't work. Now, you live a happy life and you forgive yourself. That's going to show strength. That's going to show, I'm sorry how I acted. I'm changing myself. That is going to show that you're sorry. doing the right thing is going to show that you're sorry, and it's going to help you. So now, going back to being something like sadness in your life, somebody passes away or a pet passes away, you're still going to do this process, and then that is going to trigger, that's going to make it more difficult, because then your mind is still wired to go to the negative. So you're going to go to the negative, like, oh, I should have done this, oh, I should have done. No, you're going to still think of the positive times you've spent with that animal or person, and force yourself to think positive memories and not self-condemnation about the negative, because your perception of things is not always correct. So you might think, oh, I am such a bad person because I let them do that, I didn't do this or didn't do that. But it's not always reality. Somebody else is, by talking to somebody else, they're going to make you aware of the fact that, look, you gave this animal a good life, or without you, that animal would have been on the streets. You got to look at the positives, and you got to seek support through people who are positive, because the negative people will not make you feel better about it. They'll make you feel worse. So be very choosy who you speak to about your problems too. So, all right. On that note, I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow, and I will try not to be later than 10. Bye. Please inquire about my new group programs, because there are limited seats available.